Hey guys, just Derek here. Want to give you a quick idea of how to get started using the synth that's now in the youth room. It's called the Korg TR, and this is the synth that's going to be here for you all the time to use for your practices and for the youth services, giving you great sounds that you can use like this. That's going to come in handy for sure. Let me just give you a quick idea of where to get started. Over here is the volume, and generally speaking, you want to start with that at about halfway at the 50% level. That'll give enough signal to the board and for them to be able to go up and down. It's not going to be great if it's all the way up, and if it's too low, they're going to have trouble working with it. So start around halfway. Then the two different types of categories of sound are these two buttons here. I'm going to just exit out of here. You have programs and you have combinations. And basically, you can use either combinations or programs, and I think it's the programs are when they put together a bunch of combinations to make it into a program. And so there's good stuff in both sides. So the way to find the kind of sound that you want, you mentioned you want something like different kinds of pads. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick as a starting point for you, and then as you spend time exploring the keyboard, you'll be able to figure out other things. So let's start off. We're going to be in the combination side, and the best thing to do right now, you can see I'm on a piano sound and it's got some strings. It sounds nice. Now let's say you want to go to find a pad that's going to work for your songs. Here's a real easy way to do it. You go to the category button and push that. Then you'll see what comes up on the screen is a whole bunch of categories while we're in the combination part of the keyboard. So these are, a lot of them are abbreviated. There's keyboards, organs, bells, strings, brass, orchestra, world for ethnic sounds. VJoy will like that one. Guitars, pads, motions, synths, leads, bass, and so on and so forth. So what I'd recommend for you is to get it over to the pad sound to start off. Here are the 4 buttons that allow you to move to different categories, and they correspond with the buttons underneath. So we're going to push F4 to move over to the right, to brass, one more time. Now we're on pads. What you'll see over here is all of the pads put into one block, and you can start on the first one and scroll down a bunch of ways, either using your cursor to go down to cycle through them. You can use the wheel to cycle down. Either works. You can even use the increase and the decrease button. So probably the easiest is just to use the down cursor and give you an idea of what some of the pad sounds are. Now, you notice on that very first pad sound it included a whole rhythm track with it. And you're probably not getting into that yet, and so the way to know if there is something associated with that sound or not, like a rhythm, is when you go down, when you switch to that sound, if this light comes on, this is an arpeggiation light. That often means that there's something built into that sound that's going to give you a full accompaniment with it. You can easily take that off and then just try that pad sound. And you've got that nice pad sound without the rhythm. As soon as I go to the next sound, let's say we want to try the next one. I look over at the arpeggiation button, there's nothing associated with it. Safe to try. Gives you a totally different sound. But again, a nice pad sound that might work great. And you can cycle through to the next one. Again, it's got an arpeggiation, so I'm going to take that off. It's kind of a more subtle pad sound. Real nice, real full. Gonna go to the next one, take the arpeggiation off. Again, it's got a different sound. Stereo voices. This is a nice one. Now you notice on this one, it's called Padtropolis. It has the arpeggiation on, but it's not a drum arpeggiation, but there is some movement in the sound, and it's different sounds that'll just loop through. So it actually works even with the arpeggiation button on. I really like this one. Alright, so that's the pads button. Real quick, I'll show you a few other options. You can also go to the category below it, called motion. And so I'm going to push the category down button to motion. Now we're starting on a whole nother set of pads. but they have a little bit more movement in the sound, so you'll hear stuff coming in and out. I'm going to scroll down. This one's called God's Bathtub. Again, the arpeggiation button is on, but it's because there's different things that are moving in and out of the sounds. All right? So that gives you a quick idea of how to use the category button to find the kind of sounds that you want. And what you can do is pick a sound in the pads category, and then pick a sounds in the motion category, and then just with one push of a button, you'll go back and forth between the two. So it's really easy to go from one to the other. If you look back down here on the keyboard, to get out of this mode here, you just hit the exit button. That brings us back to where we were on the main screen. And we could do the exact same thing under programs. I'll just show you real quick. Again, it's a whole new set of sounds, but it works the same way. We go to category, and a whole bunch of categories come up under the programs part of the keyboard. So some of them are a little bit different, but you got keyboards, organs, bells, and strings. That's the same. You've got one here called slow. So let's try that one out. It's called a Portamento Pad, and it's called slow because there's movement in the sound, but it's a slow movement. It's not something with a big attack on it. So you might find some good sounds under slow in the program side. Again, there's also motion. So if we go up to motion category, there'll be some ones that just maybe won't ever work. But then all of a sudden you might find something that you like. All right. Lastly, under motion is the sound effects category. So if you want to find something that's totally different, use the sound effects category, and you can get some great kind of different sounds that will just rock your world. Oh yeah. Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. That's working. Okay, have fun.